Hi everyone, how's it going? I'm so happy to be back with another video for you all, and in case you're new, welcome to my booktube channel Pretty Little Bibliophile. I'm Nika and I make book related videos, and today's video, as you can see, is going to be amazing. Really excited, so yeah, let's get started. So today's video is going to be a book recommendation video, and all of the books I'll be mentioning today are ones that I've personally read and loved, and I think you will all really enjoy and also benefit and learn from them as well. They are very diverse. We have literary fiction novels, we've got short stories, poetry, even a graphic novel, and then there is also a historical non-fiction. And as you can see, this is a part 1, so I have an exciting part 2 video coming up as well, so stay tuned for that. So without further ado, let's dive right in and I'll share all of these amazing books with you now. The first book that I want to recommend to you all is again a new favorite of mine, one that I've discovered this year and I've really loved, and it is The Mountains Sing. I also actually have a dedicated reading blog for this video, so I'll make sure to link that up as well so that you can see my extended and whole thoughts on that, because obviously this video is going to be an all-encompassing one, so I can only dedicate a certain amount of time to each book. However, without rambling on too much, let me just say that this book is set in Vietnam and we follow a family through their trials and tribulations through various years, and they see the Great Hunger, the land reform, as well as the Vietnam War. So it's a very harrowing read, but at the same time it is so full of hope, and it shows you that human resilience is really powerful, and there's nothing as strong as human resilience, you know. And another thing that I have to mention is the writing is exquisite. It's really beautiful, and when you're reading it, you're there with the people, and it's just a really great book. Also, it's kind of very sad as well at times, so it's really advisable that you keep a tissue with yourself when you're reading it. But overall, this is a book that I obviously loved. I mean, all of these books are 5-star reads. I don't think I'll have to mention that again and again. I have also written an exclusive review for it because it's so beautiful, and the events, you know, that this family goes through in this story, the land reform, the Great Hunger, the Vietnam War, you know, when we read harrowing books or heavy intense books, after the book is done we can distance ourselves from them in some way because we know it's a story. But this book is not like that, because all of the events are actual events, and even though we are following a fictional story, the tragedies, the ups and downs that this family goes through is only a reflection of what the actual people went through in Vietnam during all those years. So yeah, it was a very beautiful book, and my friend actually just finished reading this today as well, and she also really loved it. And obviously a new favorite of mine, you should definitely pick it up. It's really amazing. Then the next book that I want to recommend to you all is On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I'm sure you guys have seen this around because it's so popular on social media. But basically in this story we follow this story is basically a letter that a son is writing to his mother who can't read, and basically it's such an intense book, you know. Let me just read a bit of the synopsis to you all, because I think that will put forth the idea better. This is a letter from a son to a mother who cannot read, written when the speaker, Little Dog, is in his late 20s. The letter unearths a family's history that began before he was born. It tells of Vietnam, of the lasting impact of war, and of his family's struggle to forge a new future. And it serves as a doorway into parts of Little Dog's life his mother has never known, episodes of bewilderment, fear, and passion, all the while moving closer to an unforgettable revelation. Now, I cannot, put into exact words, the importance of this book, because it has so many subtexts and themes of immigration, diaspora, displacement, war, all of that. They really come forth really strongly in this book, I think, and as such, it's a harrowing read as well. And Personally, I think my relationship with the author's mother in this book was very complex. I'm sure you'll understand when you read the book, and it only got more complex when I kept on reading it. So that was that, and it also talks a lot about the inheritance of loss, the inheritance of trauma as well, second generational trauma, even third generational trauma, and how it affects everyone around. It's prevailing theme throughout. But that said, this is a very very beautiful book. The language is very lyrical, and I have underlined many lines in this book because I found them so beautiful. So if you're looking for something along those lines, this is a book that I would definitely recommend. And if you like reading books written in a sort of a lyrical language, as if in a letter, with a lot of reminiscing, a lot of remembering, I would say, then this book is the one for you. I would definitely recommend it. And it also has a really beautiful cover, one I think I really absolutely love. Even if I didn't know about the topic of this book when I bought it, I would have bought it just because of the cover, because it's so pretty. It definitely deserves to be a cover buy, as well as a buy based on its awesome content inside. So yeah, my second recommendation. Right, so my next and last recommendation in this literary fiction category is going to be Girl in White Cotton or Burnt Sugar by Avni Doshi, and I'm listening to it as an audiobook on Storytel. This is also our book of the month for the book club that I'm part of. You should definitely check it out. I'll include the link down below. And I am actually currently reading it. I'm halfway in and I'm quite enjoying it. It's given me some very complex thoughts. But without further ado, let me tell you first what it's about. In her youth, Tara was wild. She abandoned her loveless marriage to join an ashram, endured a brief stint as a beggar, mostly to spite her affluent parents, and spent years chasing after a disheveled homeless artist, all with her young child in tow. Now she's forgetting things, mixing up her maid's wages and leaving the gas on all night, and her grown-up daughter is faced with the task of caring for a woman who never cared for her. This is a love story and a story about betrayal, but not between lovers, between mother and daughter. Sharp as a blade and laced with caustic wit, Burnt Sugar unpicks the slippery, choking cord of memory and myth that binds two women together, making and unmaking them endlessly. Now, when it comes to a mother-daughter relationship, it already is very complex, and bringing in this aspect of selfishness, if I may say it like that, again is very intricate. So I would definitely recommend you to keep an open mind going in, because it's sometimes very difficult, and if you ever have been in such a similar situation, I'm sure this might be a bit triggering for you, I guess. So keep that in mind as well. But overall, I really am enjoying it. I'm enjoying the banter between the mother and daughter, although it gets a bit uncomfortable between them very often. So that's that. There's a lot of remembering aspect of remembering button, where the narrator, which is the daughter, basically she is going over her memories of her life with her mother, and then she tells stories of her mother. So it's often a frame within a frame, and that aspect is something that I'm really enjoying, stories within the story. So that's that, and overall I'm really enjoying it. I would really definitely recommend you to pick this one up because it's really good. Moving on, let's talk about a poetry collection that I would like to recommend to you all, and it is A Cruelty Special to Our Species. And this was such a beautiful audiobook that I actually listened to. Now let me tell you what it's about. In her arresting collection, urgently relevant for our times, poet Emily Janmin Yoon confronts the histories of sexual violence against women, focusing in particular on Korean so-called comfort women who were forced into sexual labor in Japanese-occupied territories during the Second World War. In wrenching language, this collection unforgettably describes the brutalities of war and the fear and sorrow of those whose lives and bodies were swept up by a colonizing power, bringing powerful voice to an oppressed group of people whose histories have often been erased and often overlooked. What is a body in a stolen country? Yoon asks. What is right in war? Now, I have to say that this poetry collection, this undertaking, was a really ambitious one in its scope, and in that regards, I think that the author has successfully addressed it as well. There are various, I would say, social, historical, racial, as well as gendered aspects of the discourse that the author has also brought in. And I, in as much as a reader, could identify, I would say that the author does them and addresses them really well. So it's actually a very wide scope. So the author addresses the issue of the comfort women and how it traumatized so many, a generation of women during the Second World War under the Japanese occupied territories. So from that historical aspect to modern day contemporary times, as to how well, in ways that I would say are acts of war against the human body, so it's like how casual racism is practiced even today, how girls are forced to put out, how the West really conceives or perceives the East and their cultures and all of that, as well as certain body image issues. The author has been able to address all of these issues in a really respectful and an understanding way, and I think we all need to applaud the author in that regard, as well as also pick up the collection if you haven't already. I would really definitely recommend the audiobook because it was narrated and recited rather really well. The next book I would like to recommend you all is a short story collection which I really loved. It was cozy and nice and something that you can curl up to, I would say. And this book is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I'm sure you might have already heard of it, and if you haven't, I don't know where you've been living or what rock you have been living under, but basically this is set in a quaint old cafe in Japan where the customers can order a cup of coffee and then they can travel back to time, but there are certain terms and conditions that you have to agree with before you actually go back in time. It's really beautiful, and we get to see the various sides of humanity, of humans rather, I would say, in this short story collection. It was really beautiful. You felt happy, you felt sad, you felt nostalgic sometimes, but overall it was a really beautiful read. Sometimes we as readers feel and are actually confused, like what book should I pick up next. In those times I would definitely recommend you to pick this one up, curl yourself with under a blanket, cozy blanket, and then prepare yourself whatever you like, coffee, tea, smoothie even, and just enjoy and read this book. And it's so beautiful, it's very calming, and it will make you feel really good. This book, 10 out of 10 would recommend. The next book that I would like to recommend to you all is a historical non-fiction, and it is The Last Gathering, or Bazm-e-Akhir, and it was originally written by Munshi Faizuddin, but this one, The Last Gathering, was translated by Attar Farooqi. Now this is a brilliant and beautiful book. First published in 1885, Bazm-e-Akhir, or The Last Gathering, is a rich and lively first-hand account of life in the royal court of the last Mughal emperor in Red Fort, Bahadur Shah Zafar. From meticulous details of the day-to-day happenings inside the fort palace and the royal protocols to the celebration of festivals such as Eid, Navroz, Diwali, and even Raksha Bandhan, this gives us a glimpse into the Delhi of the early 19th century. And I have to say that it was a beautiful book, and it really was full of imagery and the descriptions of the places, of the foods, the way that the queens, the princesses dressed up, the emperor's routine, I would say, all of that. It has been described in such meticulous, to borrow the word from the synopsis, in such meticulous detail. And it's and the best thing about this, even though it's a historical non-fiction, it's not at all boring. You'll finish it in probably one sitting because this is so good. You'll just rush through it. It's so beautiful, and it sort of will make you reminiscent and nostalgic about that time, even though none of us have actually seen that time. So I would definitely recommend you to pick this one up. This is a beautiful book. I have actually read it twice now, I think, and I really loved it and enjoyed it. This also inspired me to write certain articles on it based on what we call Desi dark academia, which is a subgenre of dark academia, I would say. It's a beautiful book. I mean, I'm sure I've said the word beautiful many times now in this video, but all of these books really deserve all the attention, all your praise because they were really amazing, each one of them. So yeah, this is another recommendation from me. So the last book that I'm going to recommend in today's video is actually a graphic novel, which I'm sure many of you have been excited about, and it is called Skim, S-K-I-M, and I actually read it and I made a presentation on it for a class for my first semester finals, and I actually got quite good grades on it. I really enjoyed it. It was really wonderfully created in the I would say in both aspects of the art as well as the content, as in themes and all of that. So let me tell you what it's about. Skim is Kimberly Keiko Cameron, a not slim would-be weekend goth who goes to a private girls' school. When Skim's classmate Katie Matthews is dumped by her boyfriend, who then kills himself, the entire school goes into mourning overdrive. As concerned guidance counselors provide lectures on the cycle of grief, and the popular clique starts a new club, Girls Celebrates Life! To bolster school spirit, Skim sinks into an ever-deepening depression, and falling in love only makes things worse. Suicide, depression, love, being gay or not, crushes, cliques, and finding a way to be your own human self are all explored in this brilliant collaboration by cousins Mariko and Jillian Tamaki, an edgy, keenly observed and poignant glimpse into the heartache of being young. Now, this book I would say has it all. However, it's also set in high school, so keep that in mind. But even then, it's actually quite short since it's a graphic novel, and the main themes that it explores are themes in general. So in case you are a person who does not like to read high school, books set in high school and all of that, which I am too. I mean, I understand. Don't let that, make you apprehensive about picking this particular book up, because this one is actually quite good, and I would definitely recommend you all. And the overall themes I would say are mental health, dealing with pressure in school, discovering your sexuality or coming to terms with your sexuality, dealing with the lack of a support system in terms of both family and friends, all of that, and how it affects one person. It's really all addressed here in nuances, obviously, but as readers I'm sure you guys will all understand, because this graphic novel was actually done really well. The art as well was stunning. It's black and white, by the way, and I think it just was juxtaposed really nicely. The coloring scheme is so simple, just black and white, but against this is juxtaposed certain very heavy and intense themes. So this placing together was really intricate and done really well. This was a good point and good decision that both the creators came into, obviously, but obviously it's really beautiful. It also addresses certain cultural differences, because obviously, as you can see, Keiko is not fully Canadian. She is, let me just confirm and tell you, so she's Japanese Canadian. So we see her dealing with it, although I won't say racism is overtly addressed in this collection, because it's not the main concern in this book, although it is, I would say, but it's not the main concern. But overall, this book was a really fun and quick read, as well as one that addressed important issues at the same time while giving you enjoyment. So yeah, a definite read. And that's it, guys. We have reached the end of today's video. If you liked it, don't forget to click on the thumbs up icon down below, and you know what, I'll make sure to include another list of books down below in the comment box, so in case you are looking for more recommendation, you can check those out, because they are actually very good. Some of them I have read, and some actually are on my TBR, so that's that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and keep supporting. Click on the thumbs up icon. Please do like the video, and also click on the bell icon so that you'll be notified every time a new video goes up, and share. And I'll see you with the second part very soon. Until then, take care and peace out. Bye.